I'm wasting my time. There's no structure there for me. And I said, I quit. Hello beautiful, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. My name's Caitlin if you're new here. I discovered bullet journaling about 5 years ago, and over that time my style has changed, the layouts and spreads that I use have changed, and really the intention behind why I bullet journal has changed. Those 5 years ago on YouTube suggested a video, I pulled it up, I watched it, and fell in love with the concept of what bullet journaling is. But I felt overwhelmed. I felt like I didn't have enough time, and I was really comparing myself and having a little bit of perfectionism issues come in throughout my journey. I just said, I can't do this anymore. I need to quit bullet journaling. It's not adding any value to my life. I'm wasting my time. There's no structure there for me. And I said, I quit. I can't do this. Now, I know not everybody's experience is going to be the same, but I really want to walk you through why I quit bullet journaling, why I came back to bullet journaling, and all of those tips and tricks that I kind of discovered about myself along the way over the 5 years. Let me know down in the comments below if you've ever quit bullet journaling before and how you got around it. The first reason why I quit bullet journaling I mentioned it was because I was overwhelmed. Going on YouTube and Pinterest and Instagram, there's a whole bunch of resources there for you to explore on what a bullet journal is and why you should bullet journal, what spreads to include, every which way you can think of, there's probably a video out there. But with all of that information coming in, it can get overwhelming. You want to have spreads in there that are going to help you, and this is something that I didn't initially do when I started bullet journaling. I saw what other people were doing, I said, oh, that's such a good idea, I'm going to include it in my spread, and what do you know, I have about 20 spreads in my bullet journal every month that I don't actually use. I can say, and I don't know if this is you as well, I go a little overboard and I want to get the most out of whatever I'm doing. I invest in all of the supplies, I research everything, and I just go in for it 100%. Now that can be a benefit, but with bullet journaling, looking back on it, I wish I just started with the bare bones, the basics. So first and foremost, you don't need to put a bunch of money into bullet journaling. All you really need is a pen and a journal. Go in and really figure out why you want a bullet journal. That's going to provide you clarity where I was lacking, especially in the beginning. I saw what other people were doing, thought it would be cool, thought it would work for my life, and really what works for them is not going to work for me. And that's what I want to talk to you about first. So if you are a beginner to bullet journaling or you're new, maybe you've been bullet journaling for a little while, to start off with the bare bones. Really understand the why behind the bullet journal. Things like your index, future log, monthly calendar, layouts, everything that I chat about in my how to start a bullet journal video. If you are using it for more of a minimalistic layout, you want something quick and easy, focus on that. If you're looking for some sort of creative outlet, which is why I use my bullet journal now, do that as well. But don't put too much pressure on yourself and go overboard and invest all of this time into something that you don't really know or understand. So I have a whole video based on what is a bullet journal, how to start a bullet journal, everything like that. I'm going to link it up above. And you can go look at that. It just breaks down those basic concepts of what a bullet journal is, and that's where I wish I started. Going over that a couple weeks or even a few months would be beneficial as well. It would help me understand more so why I want to bullet journal. Now, after 5 years, I want to make sure that mindfulness is in there, that productivity is in there, and also have a bit of creativity. That's not something that I could really discover without having that time dedicated toward that basic method. The second reason why I quit bullet journaling is because of time. I started bullet journaling before I went into university and really needed something to organize my life while I was going through classes. Whether you're a student or not, your time is valuable. Having a bullet journal provides you flexibility to organize different aspects of your life, but it also takes time to get everything organized and understanding the system, like I mentioned in the first one, which can kind of be a little overwhelming, but the time that you're investing into bullet journaling can be a little too much sometimes. And that was the case for me. I liked having the flexibility of having those options to include assignment trackers, different class information, study logs, things like that that aren't found in your traditional journal, but I needed that structure that the traditional planner or journal provided me. So how I got around this. While I was in my first year of university, I had two different journals. One was the bullet journal method. Two was my planner that I bought from a store. Having that planner, that pre-structured out layouts for everything, didn't put time in for me to organize things like monthly logs, weekly logs, future logs, all of those stuff that I would need to be setting up each week. Instead, I had a planner for my bullet journal dedicated for those extra spreads, those things that I would want to add value into my life as a student, and then other things that needed to be scheduled in advance, like tests, quizzes, anything like that. My daily to-do list would go in my traditional planner. Now, I know that this isn't always going to work for people having two separate journals. So another recommendation that I ended up doing in my 3rd and 4th year was just having really minimalistic, quick and easy bullet journal spreads. This reduced the time that I was spending in my bullet journal. I still added a little bit of creativity into my themes by having more of a fun cover page, but my weekly spreads were really minimalistic. And if that is something that you are finding a struggle with right now is time, keep it simple. If you'd like to have a little bit more of doodles and designs in your journal, that's okay too. Maybe find a substitute, things like stamps or stickers or digital downloads that you can use in your bullet journal. Or maybe have a digital planner in itself where you can download stuff. I'm actually working on a digital planner for students right now. That's one of my little projects I have going on to help overcome the struggles that I had with time as being a student. The last reason why I quit bullet journaling was because of comparison and perfectionism. Living in a digital age, it is amazing that we can go out and look for inspiration online, but it's also a little difficult because we see what everybody else is doing out there. You can share your content, but sometimes it doesn't feel like it's quite up to par to what's out there. And even I feel like that. My perfectionism and comparison get in the way. I look at what other people are doing and see these amazing trackers or spreads that they're including and think, why don't I try that? And really it's not adding any value to my life. Even if we see something that is beautiful looking and we want to include it, it might not always work. The perfect scenario for me personally is mood trackers. I see all those amazing designs and like the idea behind including it in my bullet journal, but it doesn't add any value to my life. And having that specific spread or those layouts in there, I just end up feeling guilty because they're not being filled out. My perfectionism comes in where I see an empty spread, and because I'm trying to get over this already, including a spread in there that's not gonna help me and actually make me feel worse is not something that I do in my journal anymore. A habit tracker is another great example, but I need to tweak it a little bit. So it's not working for me in one area. I like the idea of it, so what can I do to make sure that it's gonna actually work? I didn't like seeing the emptiness that habit trackers would have day to day when I'm filling them out. And it made me feel bad and guilty for not doing the habit, and that's not really beneficial to my life. So I ended up tweaking it a little bit in January. I went in for my January tracker. Instead, I just did little circles all throughout the page and filled it in when I completed a certain number of steps. That got me out walking more, which was the intention behind what I actually wanted. I wanted to go out and walk. I wanted to build that habit, and maybe not every single day looked the same, but I still got out and I walked. By switching up the spread to match the intention that I had, it reduced the likelihood that I was going to quit bullet journaling again. Perfectionism is something that I struggle with on a day-to-day basis, and trying to fill out my spreads in time, having it completed nice, looking all pretty, all of these things are a little overwhelming sometimes. And with bullet journaling, I just really try to remind myself that it's not supposed to be perfect. And I also like sharing that with you guys on my Instagram because I want to show you this week I didn't have enough time to add my creative doodles. I went back and I added it later. I did that especially in my March. You'll see in that flip through that there are spreads there that I didn't actually complete all the way through. And that's okay. Bullet journaling doesn't have to be the same every single week or every single month. Switch up those spreads. If you need something a little more minimalistic, do that. If you have more time to add a little bit of things in, do that as well. Whatever works for you and your lifestyle. All three of those reasons, being overwhelmed, not having enough time, comparing myself, and perfectionism, all got in the way from me bullet journaling. And there are things that I still struggle with today, and I try to pivot and adjust based on the tips that I gave you before in the video. But that's really it. I hope this helped you, and if you have any suggestions on how you overcame different struggles with bullet journaling, leave them just down in the comments, and while you're down there, hit that like button. It really does help support the channel to grow. I'll see you next week when we're doing my plan with me for the month of May.